Welcome to Smart Business Show, episode 227. I know this now because I switched over to Transistor as my podcast host. I didn't know that before, and this is going to be for October 10th, 2018. Today I'm going to talk about the importance of saying, I don't know. I think this is super important for every freelancer, every consultant to just admit when they don't know something. And this is prompted by listening to the Tim Ferriss Show. You'll find the link in the show notes if you're on YouTube, right? That's right below. And podcast player, it's wherever they keep the show notes. And he was talking with Howard Marks, who's a very well-known investor, right? Is it Charlie Munger? Those guys, right? Say they look at his memo regularly, whatever. He writes a regular newsletter. Anyways, so what he was saying is that we need to, be willing to say what we don't know. And I find that many freelancers, many consultants I talk to are often saying, yeah, I can do that. Of course, I can do that. Right? I could technically write a payment gateway, but I hate writing, so I don't. So that's what we're going to talk about. And I want to talk about specifically, we'll reference one client. Her name is Sarah. I want to talk about how I put a number, percentage-based number, usually on my confidence on something, and just what experts don't need to say, because experts don't need to say some stuff. So going back to Sarah, I worked with Sarah a couple years ago now, and I've talked about her before. She had to wait a bunch to even talk to me. She had to wait to even work with me once she decided she wanted to go with me, on and on. And she said that was, that in part was some of the reasons that she chose to work with me, because she had to wait. One of the other things is that I was the only consultant when she said, can we do this? And I'd say, I don't know. I think we can. And I have, a certain amount of confidence in that. And she would say, oh, okay, thanks. And I would tell her, this is how we could find that out. This is how we would know. This is how I could answer the questions so that I know. So she left, the conversation with me, one conversation after multiple with other people who said they could start next week. And I said, I can start in 2 months. And she was like, oh no, he's the expert I want. He's the one who's going to give me the real answers that I need for my business. And so what I often do as well is I put a percentage-based number on something, or I'll say, I don't see any reason why we can't, but I have never done it, so I'm not sure. Right? So I might say to a client, say they want to do some WordPress thing. And I say, well, I think we can do that. It sounds like it's plausible. It doesn't sound crazy. And I think probably 80% assurance that we can do what you want. And then they say, oh, great, thanks. Or, whatever else. And then we decide how we're going to proceed to discover 100% that we can or cannot do it. So I generally try to put a confidence number on my estimates for people on the things that I say I think I can do or I don't know, right? So I may say I don't know, but if we do, A, B, and C, it sounds plausible. So for, I might say, now I'm translating from nerd, because I talked nerd there for a second. I think about 80% that sounds totally likely that we can do without a crazy amount of work, or yeah, we could do that, but it's gonna be a lot of work to do your feature. It also helps set pricing expectations, because if it's a lot of work and a lot of, crazy new ground broken, then, they just know that it's going to cost a little more. And then another thing is that experts, they don't need to flaunt that they know everything. Experts are willing to admit that they don't know something. They might even say, I don't know. I applied for a job, a contract, a long-term contract with something recently, and they wanted to React and Vue. And I was like, I don't know either of those. Like, you can say you need it, but I don't know it. And I was recommended from a major web host to apply to this as like the best Canadian contractor, because for reasons this contract needs to have a Canadian working on it. It can't be a US person, which is, kind of the opposite of what I see a lot of the time. Anyways, for me, because I'm in Canada. And so I said, I don't know either of those things, but I do know, here's what I do know really well. And I listed the 4 or 5 things that I was like, I can handle this. This is what I do. For sites like yours, this is, how I've solved these problems before. Here's some clients to talk to. And they said, hey, great, these other 2 things, React and Vue.js, then we kind of want those, but we're not actually sure we're even going to use them yet. And so I've actually seen people say, oh, I absolutely know these things, and it's a big project that is Vue. I talked, one of my friends said Backbone, it was a Backbone project years ago, and he said, oh, I'd totally be able to do that. And he could figure it out. He's a smart programmer. I could figure out React and Vue, but I don't know them. So saying I do is lying to my client, misleading them, at least on my expertise level. Can I learn it? That's why I said, I don't know them. Can I learn it? Probably. A programming language in some ways is a programming language. They have a lot of the same conventions, and I likely can learn what I need to make this project fly under these technologies, but I don't know it. If you're looking for an expert in those 2, you're better served by someone else. And as a, I guess as a self-proclaimed expert, I like to think of myself as an expert anyways, I don't feel the need, and experts don't feel the need to flaunt that they're the best, right? You even see this in some athletes, some athletes at least. They don't feel the need to flaunt that they are the best, that they are going to beat you at everything, that they are so much faster than you. And this comes down to when I go running. I went running with my friend Ryan last week, and he is or more like within a month of each other age-wise. And he is, when you look at him, you'd be like, man, the muscles on that guy, he clearly works out. But he doesn't really run. We took him on a trail run, and I knew that I was going to be faster than him, and I just set my expectations accordingly. Went out and we had a good time hanging out with a friend. So experts are like that. They don't need to flaunt that they know everything. They don't need to jump on, oh, I can absolutely do that. I know this, and I can do that, and I'm the best thing since sliced bread. Experts know what they know. They're willing to admit that they know it. And when they don't know, they say, I don't know that. I don't know. We'll have to find out. Or we'll have to, here's the steps we can take to do it. So if you want to be perceived as an expert, you need to admit that you don't know stuff. Being 100% confident all the time in everything that you can do because you're the best thing since sliced breads only shows that you're an amateur. Don't be an amateur. Be willing to say, I don't know. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you're watching this on YouTube, give me a thumbs up and leave a comment, please. If you have any other questions, I'd love to answer your questions on the show. If you're in your podcast player, give me a heart or a star or thumbs up or whatever they do. I'd love to see reviews. I say see. I'm actually not going to check them. I admit this. Reviews help people find the show, though. So if you find this useful, please pass it along in whatever way you see fit. Leaving a review will help. Passing it on, if you link to it in your blog, other things like that would be super helpful. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have an amazing day.